Welcome to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me as always is new Mike L, Kevin Jack.
I'm here, Mike Dell, and tonight's the night we find out why people call me Cheeks.
That's right. Cheeks the Toy Wonder. What a character this is. But yeah, today we'll be reading Ambush Bug issue 1 from 1985. Keith Giffin was the man behind this book. Mm-hmm. And I think he did the writing in the art here, correct? Yeah, sure he did.
One-man show.
So before we get into that, let's remind everybody that if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're holding steady at 302 subscribers.
We crossed 300 and can't get past.
Well, I did see we were up to 303 briefly, and then someone came to their senses. And so...
Yeah, it was funny. And they're like, oh, wait, what the hell?
Yeah, no one's watching Steel Grip Starkey. No one.
I find that shocking.
But anyway, if we get to 500, Jank's going to make me read The Dark Knight. So, yeah, that's something.
That'll be glorious.
Also, I have a book out there, Monkey Flip, about a chimp detective. Way better than Steel Grip Starkey. Yeah. So, all right, Ambush Bug. This is a name we've encountered over the years. At least I remember reading it different places, but I knew nothing about the character. And so this is unique, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it was quite the thing. I enjoyed it. It was odd, but I liked it for the most part.
Like I said, he's created by Keith Giffin, and his first appearance was in DC Comics Presents issue 52 in 1982. And now his background's a little sketchy because he's all, as we like to say, he's all oatmeal north of the eyebrows. So this could be all delusion or whatever, but his name is Erwin Schwab.
Yep, the cover at least confirms that much, I guess.
but that's just like taken by his word that that's his name. Like, so he could just be imagining everything, you know.
Might just be a bug or something for all we know.
The most common, this is from Wikipedia, the most commonly accepted origin is that Brum L of the planet Schwab sent his clothes from a supposedly doomed planet, hoping that his wardrobe would survive, only to have it intercepted by a giant radioactive space spider. In the resulting crash, only 2 articles of clothing survived. The ambush bug suit, which was subsequently found by Erwin Schwab, and Argyle, an Argyle sock with a Dr. Doom-like complex, complete with a metal mask. So the ambush bug suit, it's like a green suit with antenna.
Mm-hmm.
So he looks like a giant bug when he wears this suit.
Yeah.
And this Argyle, it's spelled Arg, exclamation point, Isle. Like,
I get it.
And it's a sock, and that's his arch enemy, basically, is this sock.
Ooh. Sad we didn't get to see him in this issue.
Yes.
Quite the rivalry.
Now, his only powers as Ambush Bug is he can teleport. And because in this issue we see a pop, and then he changed, so it's very much like Impossible Man, the popping and the teleport. But he can teleport, and he also just has like dumb luck, kind of like Longshot, I guess they say.
Yeah, I can see that. Or else, I guess, if you count craziness as a power, he's got that. A lot of that going on.
Yeah, he's basically a cross between Impossible Man, Deadpool, Madcap, all of them rolled together.
Yeah, a little bit of each. Yep, that's for sure.
Like there's definitely a strong Deadpool. I don't know if Rob Liefeld knew Ambush Bug when he created Deadpool, but clearly there's a Deadpool here, you know.
Yep, there's certainly definitely similarities. I feel like Deadpool's not quite as insane. Like his comes off more as humor, whereas this guy just seems, insane. Like he's not making jokes so much as he thinks he's living this reality.
And he definitely knows he's a comic book character, like in a comic book, and like he's breaking the fourth wall and stuff like Deadpool would. But he is probably more like Looney Tunes, like Madcap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely a cross between those two, I would say, for sure.
And what was I else going to say about this old guy? I don't know. But so there's that. All right. So he also had his what we're reading today is a 4-issue limited series from 1985. And we're doing issue 1. He also had a 6-issue limited series in 2008. Ooh. Then he started appearing regularly in Doom Patrol in 2010. And then in 2011, DC did that whole New 52 nonsense where they rebooted the continuity and everything.
They bring him back?
Well, Ambush Bug would appear at the end of issues as like a newscaster for Channel 52, and he would like summarize recent events in the new continuity and like keep everyone up to date on things, I guess. So
that's interesting. I don't know what news station would hire it. But.
Yeah. Channel 52. And
Jeff stations.
And we've talked about Keith Giffin before on the show, but sadly he passed away last year, at the age of 70.
I didn't know that. Oh, sad. I've been enjoying his work on this show.
He also created Lobo. Maybe that's when we talked about him before. And
that he did League book I assigned you, but then wasn't here for. He was like the artist and co-writer on that one, I believe.
Oh, the Justice League one, you said?
Where Batman punched Guy Gardner.
Yeah. He was. Yeah. He may have been, but yeah, he probably was involved in that, right? Yeah, sure.
Him and Jam Dam wrote it, and then who's the artist?
And he also did that Dr. Fate backup, or not backup, but the Dr. Fate pages in the All-Star Comics, All-Star Squadron Annual 3 we did with all those old villains. Yeah, I really liked his art there. He's had a lot of distinctive art styles throughout his career. Like he's changed styles a lot.
Yeah.
So, that's impressive. All right. But he's the guy behind Ambush Bug, and he came back, and I think he did that 2008 miniseries. And not a lot of other creators ever handled Ambush Bug quite right. I don't think so. He was always
scared.
and when he created the character, I think it was Paul Kupperberg. They were looking for something to do in that DC Comics Presents, and Giffin came up with the idea because he said it's an idea he's had. And it's basically he based it like a Bugs Bunny comic book character is basically what it was. So,
yeah, very much you can tell that is the influence here.
Anything else about Ambush Bug that we should know? It's just a goofy character doing goofy stuff.
Yeah, I did see that there is an Ambush Bug like stocking stuffer Christmas special that came out in the 80s. So maybe we'll have to do that one year for our DC Christmas.
I guess I should also mention in that first appearance, he was a villain initially. And he was going up against Superman and Batman and stuff, just giving them headaches, causing a bunch of trouble. And but then he decided, I'd rather be a superhero than a supervillain. So when this issue opens, he's a private detective specializing in superhero cases.
Him and Detective Chimp could have teamed up. Shared office expense.
So, all right. Well, might as well just get into it. Would you like to describe the cover for us there, Jake?
Sure. We got the little DC circle up there in the top left, then in a blue little banner that says 4-part miniseries. And we get the Ambush Bug logo, which is kind of very, like balloon, font, I would say. Like very, squishy. And then it's got little antennas on the A there, for the Ambush Bug. That's pretty cool. Then there's a big yellow, like bright yellow, almost highlighter yellow background, and like a kind of an oval in the middle that leads to some kind of ornate framing at the bottom. I don't know if this is supposed to be some like see mirror or something. I don't know. But then we got Ambush Bug himself jumping through that oval, and he is wearing not only his normal Ambush Bug kind of green suit with the antenna, but he's also wearing like a knockoff Superman suit, like big baggy trunks, and the whole thing was kind of ill-fitting, and looks a little too big for him. But he's like kind of jumping out of this oval, and he says, "Hey, check it out! I'm leaping tall buildings with a single bound. Stay right where you are. I've got to locate a speeding bullet."
Yeah.
And it says nonstop action, all in full color. And then this bottom part, I had to read several times because I was like, what? There's something I'm not getting here. Because it starts with, and who in his secret identity as Erwin Schaub, ill-mannered reader of the Daily Bugle, fights a never-ending four-issue battle for truth, justice, and the almighty buck.
Yeah.
What's the and who about? Like, what? You can't say and you didn't say anything in the first place.
Yeah. Well, this covers a parody of Superman issue 1 from 1939, and I'm looking at that. That doesn't have an and who. I was thinking it had an and who maybe, and that's why they did it, but no. But,
You know?
but that weird little design at the bottom, that was also on the Superman cover.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Yeah, it's just
more of an Art Deco from the 30s or whatever.
Yeah. So
I do like it. Corner, like the bottom corner box, like the barcode box. You just see ambush bug's antennas.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And I guess originally his antennas, like that suit, that suit was an alien suit or whatever, and it had like little robot bugs in the antenna or something, and that's how he was able to teleport. But then there was something happened, like the robot bugs got destroyed, and he could still teleport. So they just, I don't know, they just got rid of that idea.
One of those old chestnuts that Mike Alley used to love, where the guy had a machine doing the powers, and then all of a sudden he got those same exact powers naturally.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a wacky little cover. Like we said, his suit, it's just like a green, makes him look like a big green bug, and his antennas are like yellowish, and they connect down to like around his eyes and his mouth. There's lines around his eyes down into his mouth.
Yeah.
And,
he's kind of like Bug from the Micronauts.
Yeah, hey, that's a good call. Yeah,
A little bit like that, but more mask than it being his actual face. But
all right, so we open it up and we see a giant spaceship, and it's called the USS Entertainment, and it's just a big splash page. And your worst fears are oh, go ahead.
This splash page really didn't have anything to do with the rest of the book.
Yeah.
It was just there to set up a joke at the beginning, I think. Or maybe this is something that comes back later in the limited series, but.
Yeah, it's just, it says your worst fears are about to come true. This is the invasion fleet from the far planet Tedious. Life there is deadly dull because they have no comic book industry. So the armies of Tedious have come to Earth to take away your loved ones. No, not your family. We said your loved ones. These aliens want your comic books.
That's good. Liked it.
And there's a little pasted note here. It's taped to the splash page, Scotch tape. And it says, Dear readers, since the aliens will be commandeering this copy of my first issue, you'll need to buy an extra one for yourself. Live long and prosper. I know I will. Ambush Bug. And then there's a speaker on the spaceship saying, attention, and it's all spelled weird. Attention readers, prepare to turn over your comic books, especially the good DC ones. And there's a little note loosely translated from tedium into English. Oh, editor's note there.
Yep.
So now we open it up.
I would have my DC ones for sure, if I had any.
Yeah, I would have volunteered them to take them. And we get the big green and orange Ambush Bug logo on the left panel of the second page, and that almost looks like an Aquaman style thing going on there. And then we see some fellas on the street. They're hanging up some posters on the walls on a building, and the one guy's saying, "I seen the man coming out of. I seen the man." Guy, let me try that one more time. I seen the man coming out of the skies, flying saucers. And the other guy says, "You seen a splash page, fool? There's no aliens. You just saw the splash page."
Yep.
And they're yeah, go ahead.
The Ambush Bug is watching his TV, and the guy's talking about switchboard of DC Comics was flooded this week with calls from thousands of hysterical comic book fans worried about the safety of their collections. The disturbance was blamed on the bogus Space Invasion splash page in Ambush Bug number 1, which is now completely sold out.
And we should say he's like inside his little office there. A Bug Enterprises, superheroes are specialty. So I guess that's his job. And he's making himself up some eggs and some toast. And someone is interviewing his old psychiatrist on the TV. to get some insight into this ambush bug fella. And his psychiatrist,
like he actually did see this guy, or this is all in his mind.
Yeah, you never know with this fella. But his psychiatrist is saying, I told him he's a psychotic, he's schizophrenic, he's pathological. And then the board voted his immediate release. And Ambush Bug is saying, oh, that's fine. I didn't think that guy liked me, but he apparently loves me. He's calling me all those great words. So,
Yeah.
He's happy to be a crazy fella.
He hated my guts, especially after what he did to him with the fire hose.
Yeah, I don't even want to know what happened there with the fire hose. So then his phone rings, he picks it up, and there's someone trying to order a pizza, but Ambush Bug keeps mishearing him and trying to tie it into like a superhero detective case.
Yeah.
Like, what does the guy say?
This gag would have worked better on like a TV show rather than a comic where maybe it sounded weird, but it's just kind of like, why is he hearing these things so wrong when this guy seems to be speaking clearly because we're reading it?
Yeah, like he wants a deep dish pizza, so Ambush Bug says the Deep Six. Weren't they didn't they fight the New Gods? And he's going through all his records of official comic book superhero cases and stuff. Yeah. And then the guy asks for something else, and again
he's like, Zoom? Oh yes, Professor Zoom, the Reverse Flash.
Then outside we see a dump truck hit the brakes and screech, and a bunch of stuff goes flying through the air. And we see a body flying right through the window, and it's a little red body, like little red pajamas or something. And he goes flying through the window, and Ambush Bug says, "Hey, can I put you on hold there?" And he goes over and he checks, and he goes, "Oh, this is one of those dead baby jokes. I find it in very bad taste because it's like a little baby." And he picks it up, and it's a doll, Jank. And who is it exactly?
Well, he decides to name it Cheeks, the Toy Wonder. Got these little droopy cheeks and like a little bit of blonde hair. He's wearing these red pajamas, and he's just like, "Yep, this is my new sidekick, Cheeks, the Toy Wonder."
It's pretty great. That's one of the reasons why I picked this issue, because I figured you'd love Cheeks, the Toy Wonder.
I did. I especially like that all the villains like already know about Cheeks, the Toy Wonder. They're calling him by name and shit. I don't know how that happened.
Ambush Bug dons his Superman outfit that he had on the cover. And again, it's like really loose-fitting blue pajamas, red boxer shorts, a yellow belt, a cheap cape tied around his neck. So it's
kind of slightly off. It doesn't really look like the Superman logo. It's just kind of, a generic version.
Yeah. So he takes to the streets with Cheeks the Toy Wonder by his side, and they're looking for criminals. And they find some terrorists have taken over a warehouse, and the cops are outside trying to talk to them. And now these terrorists, Jank, this is 1985. These terrorists are staunch Republicans.
Yeah. And who knew Cousin Brandon was writing comic books back then?
And they're having why do they want to overtake they're holding this warehouse? Because they put a bomb in this warehouse because they believe that this warehouse, full of nerve gas, and they're going to hold the whole city hostage. But what do they want exactly, though?
Those left-wing losers are going to be mighty sorry they didn't give the Prez the funds he wanted. Those Ruskies ain't going to sit on their butts waiting for us to catch up.
Okay. So he's trying to get more funding for Ronald Reagan's programs.
Yeah, Congress has less than 15 minutes to approve funds for new nerve gas production. If they don't, all the old nerve gas weapons are going to Kingdom Come.
Yeah. So. But there is one problem with their plan, though. Do you remember what that was?
They're not in the warehouse that has the nerve gas.
That's right.
Pick the wrong one.
Yeah. They're in like warehouse 1 and the nerve gas is in warehouse 10. Someone got confused. So the cops really aren't that concerned. They're willing to just let them blow up the warehouse if they want. But the two main crooks are a guy called Specs and another guy called Spaulding. And,
Specs has quite the face.
Yeah, this is very like impressionistic kind of cartoony art from Keith Giffin.
Mm-hmm.
Like Specs barely has a nose.
He's had one too many nose jobs and just kept filing it down, and it's not pretty.
his head is basically shaped like a football.
Yeah. A
And,
football, a potato, something like that.
and Spaulding has red hair, and they also have a lady with them who is watching Spaulding's grandmother, who they took as a hostage.
Yeah.
And
Because she's also a Democrat, so they're like, we'll kill Grandma if we have to.
she voted for Jimmy Carter twice.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Ambush Bug and Cheeks the Toy Wonder, they're up on a tower above the warehouse, and they're spying on things. And then they teleport down, and they're going to go, save the day. So they infiltrate the warehouse, and they're sneaking up behind Specs. And we see Ambush Bug say, he's a hardened killer. You insist? And he says, all right, there's a word for people like you, gutsy. And he just throws Cheeks the Toy Wonder at Specs. And Cheeks hits him in the back of the head, knocks the guy's glasses off. The guy turns around with his machine gun pointed right at Cheeks' head there. And he's like, oh my God, it's the Toy Wonder.
Yep. Already, the legend has grown so fast that they already know this guy's name.
So Ambush Bug comes up behind him, kicks him in the butt, knocks him down. And, then he just jumps on him because, Ambush Bug is a registered Democrat. So
yeah. He's a Southern Democrat, not a boll weevil. They all keep calling him boll weevil the entire rest of the book.
Yeah, I think that's Specs screaming, not a boll weevil, right? He's saying, oh no, like a Southern Democrat, a boll weevil, they're the worst kind, He's like, oh, not a boll weevil. Yeah. So, then we see Spaulding running away throughout the warehouse. And would you like to describe what happens now, Miss Spaulding?
Yeah. So he sees Cheeks there wearing, Specs' shades. He's got his sunglasses on. He kind of sees just the head poking out of the corner there. So he thinks, oh, it's Specs. He's like, it's all clear, Spaulding. Nobody here but us dirtbags. And that's just, Ambush Bug trying to do an impression of Specs there. And, so Spaulding's like, oh, he's running. He's like, wait a minute, that wasn't Specs. I know who it was, the Toy Wonder. And he gets all winded. And then he sees Specs or Toy Wonder just laying there on the ground, just sitting there, and he starts screaming. He's like, "I give up. Those eyes, so piercing. I give up. I confess. Take me away, Toy Wonder." I was like, "Hey, wait just a ding dong minute. Did I say Toy Wonder? I'm not afraid of you. You can't even vote." And he just kicks the doll right across the room.
And of course, this angers Ambush Bug to no end because he sees Cheeks falling around. And he yells, Cheeks! And he's like, Daddy's here. And he jumps down to save him. But when he turns him over, Cheeks has lost an eye.
Yeah. This war has already been costly for Cheeks.
And Ambush Bug says, it's worse than I feared. You'll never see a 3D movie again. And so we see Spaulding walking down the street. And, he's like a crummy toy. I can't believe I almost ran into a lifeless stuffed doll. And then we get an insert panel of someone at a sporting goods store, Irwin Sporting Goods. And this goes back and forth a few times. Spaulding walking away, the sporting goods store. And who's ever at the sporting goods store is purchasing a bat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the gimmick here. And then we see Spaulding. We see some antennas come up behind him in a shadowy antenna form. And he says, I swear, his real name's Homer.
Yeah.
He says, yeah, I swear it's my real name.
Spaulding.
Yeah. I swear it's me, Homer Spaulding. Your first name is Homer? Yeah, my mom was into Greek mythology. And then we just see Ambush Bug swinging. He says, great. And he cracks him with a bat. And he's like in a baseball uniform. And he says, I've always wanted to hit a homer. And then he says, gee, and then we see Spaulding dead on the ground there. And he says, gee, that's funny. I usually get longer life out of a Spaulding.
Such a long way to go for that.
Very long way. All right, so now we cut over to the lady who is holding Spaulding's grandmother as hostage, and there's a knock at the door, and she opens the door to see who it is. And who is it, Jank?
Well, it's a boll weevil. Ambush Bug kind of sneaks up behind her, and he's like, what's he look like? And then you see a shot from the superhero handbook. There's a little cutaway panel here, where it says, got a list of rules here. Number 1, no starch in the cape. Number 2, always sneak away from Gordon. That's a very Batman specific one right there. Number 3, before going to Earth 2, check with Roy. That's good. 4, never finish a date. Yep, accurate. 5, eat even if you don't have to. 6, remember your origin at least once an issue. I like that one. That one's really good. Number 7, don't pull the mask off that old Lone Ranger. And number 8, never, ever hit a woman. Then pow, he hits her.
Yeah, he just cold cocks her.
Yep.
So,
he's like, nuts. I think I just broke rule number 8 again.
So he hits a lot of ladies, I guess. And the grandma says, "Excuse me, Mr. Weevil." And he's like, "Don't worry, ma'am. I've defeated those Republicans." And she says, "But there's a time bomb. It's set to explode in seconds." "Relax, senior citizen. My partner is defusing the bomb even as we speak." And then we cut over and we see Cheeks with just one eye now. And he's just
and
sitting
as the
on
faithful seconds tick by, what could Cheeks be thinking? And we get a little thought balloon where it's just blank.
He's just sitting on the time bomb. And it blows up.
Yep.
But it says ding instead of kaboom because we get an editor's note here from the letterer. It says, "Julie, I know this was supposed to say kaboom, but I had to letter it overnight and I didn't want to wake up my wife. Sorry." So he just made it ding.
Yep. I like that. That's a good random joke.
So now we cut away. There's a little arrow there. It says at the bottom, 5 pages of insert follow. And we just get a bunch of random things. First up, it's the Ambush Bug merchandising catalog. And it's just some dude. Is this Julius Schwartz maybe, or the editor of DC? I think maybe. I don't
maybe. Like it says he's Peabody, of Peabody, Dicker, and Pending.
Okay.
But it could be based off of him for all we know.
I have no idea. So he's staring at the camera and he's just telling about all this stuff they're trying to sell, I guess.
Yeah, and his partners are not happy about everything he says.
Then the next up, we get Ambush Bug Aerobics Physical Fitness workout book, now in paperback. And we just see Ambush Bug in a little workout outfit with leg warmers up in the air.
Over 1,350,000 hardcover copies printed. What are we going to do with them all? Monkey Flip has the same copy.
And then at the bottom it says by the author of, and they list all the books. They're all just Ambush Bug Aerobics Physical Fitness Workout book for dogs, for dairy cows, for comic book fans, and for Julius Schwartz at the end there. So, what a Julius Schwartz.
Yeah, he got his own book there.
Then we get an Ambush Bug data sheet, kind of like a Playboy Playmate information here. And we get a little picture of him with a rose in his teeth, smiling at the camera, winking. And real name, Erwin Schwab, chest poor, waist fair, hips great. And his height is 5'11", weight 138. So
dang, he might be thinner than you.
He is. I weigh more than Ambush Bug.
Wow.
I mean, I was thinner in my younger days, you know.
Sure.
No, I'm a big
I was thinner than him when I was in, 8th grade.
No, but I mean, well in my 30s, I was. I'm a big strapping man of 148 now. So I got about 10 pounds.
Beefy.
They give his birth date, 4/1962, Hoboken, New Jersey. His ambitions, to fight for truth, justice, and the American way, in parentheses, and pull a profit. Turn-ons, people who buy any first issues of anything, bubble baths, cushion potty seats, Best of Carson.
Those are the worst.
Data sheets and royalties.
Yeah. Oh, he must like Power Girl. She was all about spreadsheets.
That's right.
So data sheets, he's going to be all over that.
Turn-offs, runny eggs, ring around the collar, tropical fish lying belly up, Smurfs, Smurfette, the Smurf tones, Smurf Griffin.
Yeah, he really hates the Smurfs.
Yeah. Favorite movies, The Ruling Class, At Long Last Love, Them, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Hey, that's a winner. I love that one. Dog of Norway, Cat Women on the Moon. That one, the last one sounds pretty good. Favorite food.
Something we would do on the LCS Hockey Show for sure.
Mixed nuts, Dunkin' Munchkins, pizza, Jello, Jello, and he sings it on. Granulated candies that you suck from a straw. Pixie sticks. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are so good.
Favorite place, Black Flag Roach Motel. Ideal evenings sitting on a white sandy beach feeding copies of Thriller into a paper shredder.
Yeah, not a fan of Michael Jackson, apparently.
He made another Michael Jackson joke
yeah.
during the merchandise catalog thing, too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest joy, mailing shredded copies to Dick Giordano, along with a little box that laughs when you turn it over. And Dick Giordano was an editor at DC at the time. Last words, I shouldn't have eaten yesterday's potato salad. And then we get a little picture of him as a baby, a picture of him jumping off a roof as a kid with a Superman cape, and then his first photo, but the thumb's in the way of the camera lens there, so you don't really see anything. Now, this next one, I don't know if I like this next one. What do you think the point of this next one is, Jank? He's just saying he hates David Letterman? Is that what's going on here? Because
I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell. It's clearly a lot of Stephen King jokes. I don't know what that has to do with David Letterman.
Yeah, so it's just at the top, it's like blood coming down a page, and it says late night in yellow letters, like spooky horror movie kind of things. And it says by Ambush Bug, author of other tales of TV terror, such as Salem Set, The Set Tone, Bright Shift, The Tuning, Fine Starter, The Stand. And then we see someone walking down the street there with a Late Night with David Letterman shirt on. And everywhere you look, there's Late Night with David Letterman stuff. And it's on the light poles, the garbage cans, every storefront. And then we see Ambush Bug on his knees holding his head screaming with the Late Night with David Letterman t-shirt on. And it says, don't touch that dial down in the bottom right corner. I don't know. It's taking a real shot at one of my personal heroes. I don't like it.
Yeah. I can't tell if it's taking a shot or if he's a fan. I honestly couldn't tell what the joke was here. So
yeah,
that was confusing.
But I don't like it if he's making fun of my pal Dave. So
he's sniffing around sacred ground. So
yeah. On the next page, we get a little bug, like a little cartoon comic of Ambush Bug. Why don't you explain this one?
So yeah, this is like a little, newspaper comic strip type comic, or he's like a little kid, and he's looking out the window, and there's like a big mushroom cloud, and he's like, golly, it looks like Fallout. Maybe we'll get a lot, and school will be closed. He's watching the TV for the Fallout report, I guess, and he's listening to the radio later on. The fallout is up to 6 inches. All schools will be closed tomorrow. Oh boy, I can stay up late. And then his mom comes in, and she's like, oh, Bug. He's asleep, and he's like, yes, Mom. And he apparently has been forced to go out there and shovel the fallout. She says, when you finish this, do the driveway. He's like, I wish I was in school. He's shoveling up this pink goop.
Yeah.
I guess fallout from the radiation.
Yeah, I didn't know radiation fallout was pink goop, but, whatever.
Looks pretty tasty, like bubble gum.
Then we see an ad, now together in one great comics magazine, the super team up you asked for, Ambush Bug and Super Turtle. The first in a series of combinations co-starring heroes from DC's Hall of Shame. A book-length spectacular. I'd like to hear more about this Super Turtle.
Yeah. It seems pretty great.
Yeah. All right, so now we...
some giant guy. May or may not be Popeye. Or Olive Oil with I don't know, with those weird elbows.
Yeah, that is true. Those are like Fred Hembeck elbows, right? Where you're those little squirrely deals on the elbows too. All right, so now on the next page, we resume our story, and it's sometime later after the free insert, and they're at the police station, and we see a cop eating a sandwich, and we see all the criminals from the story come in, and they're all like solid black with ashy like falling off. I'm like, they've been in an explosion,
Yeah. Not just any explosion, because they're getting booked for destruction of private property and the bombing of a warehouse full of blacktop driveway sealant, and for asphalting an officer.
And then we see the one guy, the police officer at the scene. He had a megaphone. The megaphone's like still in his mouth, but it's blown open.
Yeah.
Flour. And
Ambush Bug basically shoved this thing all the way down his throat. This is almost
now,
like something Terrifier 3, to be honest.
you and your Terrifier. So now we cut over to a cemetery, the Barnes Memorial Cemetery, and we see a funeral for what we assume is only Cheeks the Wonder Toy. And we see a priest saying it's rainy. There's a bunch of other stuffed animals, and it looks like Charlie Brown's there, and
Yeah.
some goofy things. And we see Ambush Bug in a black suit, and he's crying. And now we cut over, and it says, Congress approves new nerve gas funding.
Their plan worked.
Yeah, how about that? And Ambush Bug, though, he goes into a bar to drown his sorrows, and he's just thinking about how sorry he is.
It's my fault. I shouldn't have left him to defuse that bomb by himself.
Poor little Cheeks. And but then he has an encounter with the Source. And I guess the Source is kind of like in DC, that's kind of like their god, right? Like the Source.
Yeah, I think there's like a source wall or something that is kind of, I don't know where everything comes from. I guess I don't know that much about that area of DC more.
But so the Source just kind of manifests as a glowing hand with a spray can, and he sprays some graffiti on the wall that says "Dead Hero Cell." And Ambush Bug says, "Hooray, Cheeks didn't die in vain." And then we see the Source up in some clouds, and he's just an old drunk guy. And he's boozing enough. And he says, "Heck no, kid, you're guaranteed an extra 10,000 sales. Hey, your old guardian angel is always looking out for you." Yep, he hiccups. And
I like to imagine that's the guy that was hanging around with Vampirella, who just drinks all the time.
Pendragon. Yeah. Hey, by the way, on the LCS Hockey Show, we watched the Vampirella movie from 1996.
Oh,
Not so good. Not so good. So,
it was rough.
Yeah, I want to pass on that one. So now we see a pizza shop, Gino's Pizza, and old Ambush Bug goes in to get a deep dish. And the guy says, "Oh, you must be celebrating something, huh? Well, what happened?" And he says, "Oh, dead partner."
Celebrating, Mr. Bug.
Oh.
It's a birthday, new job, bar mitzvah.
I forgot you should do that voice. And he says, "No, a dead partner." And the guy's taken aback by that. Then we go outside and we see Ambush Bug walking home with his pizza. And up in the sky in the clouds, oh, look, there's Cheeks.
Yep.
Cheeks the Toy Wonder.
Cheeks looking down on him. And then for some reason in this scan, they put this page in again.
Yeah. Oh, if you have a chance to see Cheeks, you take it. So that's 2 chances to see Cheeks.
I didn't want anyone to miss it.
But then when Ambush Bug finally gets back to his office or apartment or whatever it is, and he opens the door, who does he see there, Jack?
Well, it's Darkseid just sitting in his lobby waiting for him.
Yeah. And he drops his pizza. He's like, "Darkseid." Now, apparently, and it's his next issue when Titans clash. And, then we got the credits here. Robert Loren Fleming also helped with the writing of this issue.
He's very good.
Forgot to mention that. So in issue 2, it's all about a koala bear who becomes like a giant Godzilla-sized koala bear. And he's terrorizing the city, and Ambush Bug has to save the day. And then at the end of that issue, he goes back to his office or whatever, or he goes somewhere, I don't even know. But the final panel is again him running into Darkseid and him screaming, "Darkseid!" And that's also how issue 3 ends, and I'm not sure how issue 4 ends. I forgot to check.
Maybe Darkseid's finally in the last issue.
So it's a running gag. At the end, he always runs into Darkseid. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty great. So there it is, Ambush Bug. What do you think, Jank?
I really enjoyed this, I gotta say. You know, not all of the jokes worked, but I would say the majority of them I thought were pretty good. Cheeks, the Toy Wonder, obviously he's the best. He's the tops. He's definitely a contender for best hero, I think.
I think it's almost a lock, I think, that Cheeks the Toy Wonder is going to win best hero.
Can't defuse a bomb for shit, but, other than that, he's got it going on.
And you will be happy to know in the future adventures of Ambush Bug, Cheeks the Toy Wonder does make a return. So.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. No one ever stays dead in comics, even Cheeks.
Yeah, you usually see him like just strapped to his belt, like hanging by his hip. So he's
that's great.
Cheeks the Toy
Hope
Wonder.
he's still wearing the little Flash costume all the time.
Yeah, he's got the little pajama pants on and stuff. Or like the little red outfit. But the book was legit funny in most places. And it was fun, irreverent send up of comic books and whatnot. So nothing to complain about there. The art, it's a unique style. For Giffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was totally fine for this type of book. Like for a more humorous book, you want to have something a little bit more, cartoony, and you don't have to have everyone look super detailed. But if you want them to look like a football because it's funnier, then go ahead. I mean, these are characters that are like, they already know the toy wonder, like, so you're already throwing logic out the window in this book, so might as well just lean into it.
Yeah, the style fits the content, and Cheeks look great. So that's really the important thing here.
They got across why his name was Cheeks with those giant ass cheeks. So,
yeah, I don't know what else is there. The insert stuff. There's some swings and misses in those, but
yeah. I like that they do that kind of stuff, but maybe if you don't have good ones, maybe you hold off on it.
That's right.
Cut it down to 3 pages.
Yeah, because I still don't know what the Letterman thing was about.
No.
So yeah,
it's like even just the Stephen King, like weird kind of vaguely TV related puns. I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't all hilarious, this comic, but
no,
it was good enough.
It was a fun time. I quite enjoyed this. I could definitely read more Ambush Bug in the future. I think we're definitely going to have to do that Christmas special one of these years. Probably not this year.
One of these years. We're 70 years old doing Flea Market Fantasy.
We'll still be under 500 listeners.
My brain will be in a jar at that point. Just fake radio. But so I don't know what else. Not much else to talk about Ambush Bug. I guess it's just a goofy character doing goofy things.
Yeah, yeah. I like the story there. Though, was he a bug? Like, man, I'm so curious about his background now.
Yeah, he's a dude just wearing that suit.
Okay, because the little bug thing made him seem like he was always a bug.
Yeah,
and the pictures of him as a child, like he was a bug. So I don't know.
That is true. That is true. But I don't know. It's all who knows. Who knows the real story behind Ambush Bug? But
yep. I have a lot of questions.
All right, what do you give it? 1 out of 10?
I think I'm going to give it like an 8. I really enjoyed this.
I think it's a solid 8.
Yeah.
It was creative. It was fun. So there you go. Ambush Bug. Give it a whirl. You might like it.
Yeah.
And once again, way better than Steel Grip Starkey.
It's honestly hard not to be.
It's going to be the new measuring stick.
Yeah. If we find anything worse than Steel Grip Starkey, we've really gone off the rails.
Jank, sorry you got hit by that bus. Oh, don't worry. Way better than Steel Grip Starkey.
What was better, the Vampirella movie or Steel Grip Starkey, the comic book?
Vampirella movie, because, at least the lady was good looking. So
yeah, I guess there's that.
But all right, Jank. So next week, what do you got for us?
Okay, so I figured we could stick with another kind of slightly unhinged vigilante. We're going to return to the world of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles next week.
Oh, no.
But not the Archie series. We're going to go back to the original Mirage, Eastman and Laird Ninja Turtles stuff. And take a look at the first appearance of Casey Jones.
His damn turtles.
Yeah. Because they did a couple of these like one-shots, basically, but they called them micro-series. It was basically just each turtle got a one-shot. And the Raphael micro-series is what they called it. It's just a one-issue thing, is the issue we're going to be doing next week. On the site we use, I'll send you a link. They don't have the original black and white one. They just have like the color classics version. But, that's just as good. Just
what? Do you know what year this is?
85, 86, somewhere around there.
All right. So the Raphael micro series
Yeah.
First appearance of Casey Jones.
Yep.
Yeah, because remember last week when we were trying to think of other comic books that were almost as bad as Steel Grip Starkey, and we couldn't think of any. That Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles you had us do was terrible. Remember that?
That was pretty bad. The Jim Lawson art, that was just atrocious. Yeah.
Yeah. That was awful.
That was not a good one. This should be better.
Yeah.
This seems like it's kind of what a lot of that chunk of the movie was based off of, where Raph meets, Casey Jones. So I'm hoping it'll be pretty good.
All right. Yeah, I have my doubts, but we'll see. All right, so that's next week here on the Big Fake. Oh, I almost called it the Big Fake Radio Show. That's the other show.
Well, this is a fake radio show, I guess.
But this is the Big Comic Book Fake Radio Show. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We appreciate the support. And until next week, don't get any jank on you.